Driveway Primitive here. I'm going to show you something. This up here is a wild cherry. It's a wild cherry, you see it? The darker ones are ripe. The red ones are not ripe, obviously. Usually if you shake it, oh, they come falling down. And the birds just love them. Some species of wild cherry are edible. And these, I can't speak for. You can put them in your mouth, and they're very bitter. They have a pretty good seed size, little pit in there. And I've tasted other cherries that are that bitter that could be used for baking. But one thing about wild cherry is they kill a lot of horses and goats and things. And I'm going to tell you why. This is what the leaf looks like right when you cut it off the tree. It's fresh, it's green, it's not wilting yet. That's okay. This is what it looks like after it's completely dried. Now you can crumble it, that's okay. But in between, when the leaf has been cut and it's laying there for a day or so, when a farmer goes around the edge of his field and cuts these down, they lay out there, the cows and the horses find them after they've been in the heat and they're wilted. The leaf actually starts to put out a compound that's got cyanide in it. It's a little bit like cyanide poisoning, what kills the horses. And it'll take them right down. So farmers lose livestock to this tree a lot. And it's one of the reasons it's sort of hated. But just so you know, there are some good things about the plant. As I said, some species are edible. People actually harvest those little ripe cherries, those wild cherries. They've used them in flavoring for whiskey, lots of different things. But the biggest thing for me, the thing I've noticed here in my yard, is that it attracts a lot of wildlife. A lot of birds come to eat these. So that's a nice feature. You always want, if animals are attracted to your yard, there's a reason to be there. So hopefully it's not rattlesnakes and skunks, but you know, if they're there, there's something to eat too. Now another thing that's sort of a downer about this tree is it is a carrier of this thing called black knot. And I've mentioned this probably in some of my other videos, at least one. But this is from a plum tree that I actually brought in and planted here in my yard several years ago. And as you can see, there is a fungus on that, and that is called black knot. And it's an ugly thing. It looks painful to me, and the trees don't produce near as well when they're covered with this. This affects all of your the ones that I've tried, your domestic cherries and plums. I haven't been able to bring any cherry trees and plums into my yard that were not in the end susceptible to this. Some of the trees I cut down completely. Some I just left up and then try to enjoy what fruit they do produce. But it's better to cut that black knot out, prune it out during the winter, and burn it, or bag it up and take it to your landfill if that's allowed in your area. It is highly contagious. And what happens is in the spring rains come, and this fungus just shoots spores everywhere, and it gets all in your plums and your cherries. Now, this wild cherry is a carrier. You won't see the black knot on the tree, but it carries it. So if you're trying to plant a domesticated cherry or plum or something that has no resistance in your yard, and you have these wild cherry trees, you're not going to have a lot of luck. You're not going to be happy with the results. So just be mindful of that. Great bird attractors though.